Pros and cons. The world blames dad when it's really your mom. We're here live.
What's up, everybody?
Got my homeboy Ruxpin on my head, fixing the camera angles.
I heard someone said you guys are really late. Yeah, we're really late.
I know. Well, you
We
know,
black.
I know the flyer said 7, but you know what?
Yeah.
Sorry. What you want me to do? I'm sorry.
Pussycat
Cause I
Dolls.
know that I'm late today. Make sure all my little bells and whistles are on par here. Cause you know how I do. Yeah. Make sure I test out this coffee, make sure it's right, not watered down.
What's up, Kristen? Looks like we got a couple. Everyone's kind of streaming in.
Damn it, that's good. Got some oranges on deck.
Eliza, Matthew,
What's cracking, my peeps?
Indiana Matt,
Only thing we're missing is sweet Joelle.
Sweet Joel.
Sweet Joelle. Where you at? Come on, boy.
That boy is sweeter than a slice of pecan pie.
But it ain't pumpkin pie. It's gonna be what's the other one?
Sweet potato.
Sweet potato. He says hot potato.
Sweet
And,
potato.
We're thankful that we could have him. He's a good friend.
I feel like you could trust people who say potato with an ER. Potato.
Potato.
You guys want some potatoes?
I don't know if I've ever heard anyone say that besides maybe 80-year-olds.
Yeah. I want some mashed potatoes.
You trust them?
I
don't
just feel
trust
like they're just good people.
you feel like.
I feel it.
I don't trust them because I don't trust. They don't trust themselves because their memory's shot.
They can't remember his
They
potato.
can't remember crap.
Have I eaten is in the chat. And
What's up?
Jen.
All my special people.
Charles Albo is asking, this must be for you, Trevor, says, are you planning on making a new song?
Well, I make new songs every day. No. I do. I have music, and I need to put it out for sure. And I know I've been saying that for the longest time. That was the awkward whistle. And I know that it's true. I do. I was just coming up with this little chord progression right here. It could be an old school song. Could be an old school jam. It'd go like this. Verse. Joel's rocking right here. And then we go like this.
So sexy.
Yeah.
That's so
It's
sexy.
like, turn down the light and shut your mouth, baby girl. Coffee in my hand, and it's feeling right in the whole world. And it'd be like, 'cause I know that it's true, yeah. Could be an old school jam. Play it for your grandma when she's got her little first Tinder date because she didn't know how to use the app. You showed her.
I can see you singing that with looking like all with a white beard, old ass white R&B singer.
Mike
'Cause I
McDonald.
know that it's- Yeah, Mike McDonald.
Excuse me.
Oh.
So as per usual, we're not really very prepared for you, and but that's okay because we want you to be involved. You can call in. We can talk about anything that you want. I don't have a real accent, but I do sometimes. So if you want to call in, 818-308-5559.
You
We
know,
can talk about anything. You can talk about anything.
a couple things. I saw some interesting articles. Maybe you guys saw it. So apparently, Trevor,
Yeah.
New Jersey,
Yeah.
they have their threat levels that they assess different terror groups or groups that pose a threat to a society.
Yeah.
They've now put white supremacy at the very top
What?
under high, and everything, all the different forms of Al Qaeda and ISIS are all under medium threats.
What website is this?
This is New Jersey, the state of New Jersey. They consider white supremacy a bigger threat than ISIS and Al Qaeda.
Then you know what? I want people to call in and tell us your experience with white supremacy because I want to know. Because as a white man, I live in LA. It's a melting pot. There's a whole lot of different people here, all ethnicities, and I personally have always enjoyed learning and experiencing other cultures of different people because I was just raised that way. I'm a multicultural kind of guy. But in all my life, I've never in my life met a white supremacist or another white person, like a group of white people or one other white person that's like, damn, I don't like them black people. I don't hear it. I haven't found it. But when I went to I went to Utah like a couple months ago, and there was this guy, and he was totally hated Trump, and you could tell because he'd get real emotional talking about politics and stuff, and he'd get all like red. And he was like an older guy too. I was like, geez, calm down, bro. And I was telling him about, my experience in LA and all that stuff, and he said that, well, you don't know what the real world is like. He's like, you need to come out to these other states. There's white supremacy all over. And I was like, what? But I've traveled. I'm a traveling man. I've never experienced it. Well, I know. I'm sure maybe I wouldn't because that's my privilege, right? But yeah, I don't know, man.
People always like to have like this boogeyman of white supremacy, like it's just a bunch of white dudes just always running around, saying, I hate blacks, I hate Mexicans, and just driving around in his pickup trucks and guns. And it's hardly a problem in this country. What's a bigger problem is just anger in general. And if we're going to say which groups are a problem, ISIS and Al Qaeda are a bigger threat to our country than any white supremacy
Yeah,
group.
are they? See, I feel like they're just brainwashing people as opposed to just like, check out the statistics, man.
Yeah, the stats don't
Check
match.
out the stats. That's all I'm going to say.
We are, we're not only are whites a minority in the world, Christians are a minority
White
in the world.
people only make up 11% of the whole world.
Yeah. So we are definitely not well liked by a lot of countries like where there's Muslim extremism, like Libya, which is the result of people like Hillary and Obama.
Libya?
They turned that country into a hellhole.
Well, see, I've never even really, other than the past couple of years, it's like when I found Jesse Lee Peterson, JLP.
All right,
Quit?
it looks good.
He's the one that kind of woke me up to seeing things because I was naive to seeing things the way I see them now. And now that I can see it, it's crazy to see the brainwash and propaganda that the media and CNN, especially CNN, and all the mainstream, Fox too. I'll say all of them. I don't trust any of them.
All of them are up to
I'm not
something.
like picking up a side and be like, oh, I'm on the right or I'm on the left. It's like I'm on the center, but I do lean right to the right.
It's like I won't even say I'm in a location. It's just you want the truth,
It's true.
and you're not gonna get boxed into anything. There's plenty of Republicans I find issue with. It's like I don't even like using that label. I vote that way now just because to me it's the less crazy party.
Yeah.
There's plenty of rats and ungodly people in that party.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things they do is that they it's a slow boil over the years. People mention God, religion, or anything like that. They're painting it to be laughable, and they'll do it secretly over time. Like even with stuff like SNL, right? They throw little jabs and stuff in there that subconsciously gets to people. They think that religion's a joke. It's hard to pull it all out of my pocket at once, but I know when I see it, like there's little tiny hints of things to try to make it seem less and less credible to you as the consumer.
Yeah. The more you normalize a certain thing, like he says, if you look at these comedy shows, just media in general, which ties into this bigger idea that there are people in the media who are pushing a certain narrative, because guess who gets made fun of the most in our media?
Fat people.
Whites and Christians. They make fun of Jesus, but do you see them making fun of Muhammad as much as they would on mainstream?
Well, that would make sense actually because Muhammad is actually the #1 most popular name in the world. If you didn't know that,
Right,
the most common name in the whole world is Muhammad.
Because there's way more Muslims in the world than there are Christians. But you don't see our culture making fun of that. In fact, you'll get they'll cow to the pressure. Like there was a famous guy in the Netherlands, a cartoonist. He drew a cartoon of Muhammad, made a joke of him somehow, maybe a sexual joke, I forget, but it was a cartoon nonetheless. And a Muslim extremist shot him, and I think he was like the great nephew of Van Gogh, the painter, and the guy killed him. So that they do this all the time. They threaten violence and riots.
Because you know what this is? This is all to get people riled up so that our rights can be taken away. It's very easy to be seen. Because they want to get this person over here and be like, oh, the KKK is marching. That's so bad. They are not allowed to do that, right? They get them riled up. And then people over here were like, well, I have my rights, right? Because even if you disagree with the KKK or whoever it may be, the Black Panthers, if you disagree, one thing you can agree on is that we all have our right to march, to do whatever we want to do.
Say your piece.
In our lives. Say our piece, exactly. Have the freedom. And that's number one, and they want to distract us from being able to do that.
They want, by making you upset, and you can see it, people feel like because they're, the anger makes you feel justified in denying someone else's right to have an opinion.
And then they flip it on you and say that, oh, if you think that they have a right to do that, then you're racist, you're rights
right.
Or you hate white people because you're black because you think the Black Panthers. At the end of the day, everyone has the right to do whatever they want to do. It doesn't mean you have to agree with what they're doing, but they have the right to do it.
Right. They want to say what they want to say. I don't agree with black supremacists and like those Hebrew Israelites. I think they're one of the most hateful people in the world. But they have a right to spit that nonsense. Just like as a white, country park trailer trash dude who actually does think he hates black people. I don't agree with that because hate is a problem. But he has a right to say that opinion.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to deny him that right.
People misconstrue it. They think that because if you say they have the right to, that means you agree. But let's not forget, America is the way it is.
Yeah, it's a guilt trap. And they try to guilt you because, oh, well, why are you defending that? You must be just like him. It's like, no, I'll defend anyone's right to say something. What I won't defend and accept is like him being violent using that.
Yeah.
It's one thing to defend yourself, but just to be offensive and violent is another thing.
Exactly. And people who don't get that must be high on
marijuana.
So if you want to call in, call us. We'll talk about it. Share your experience if you've had any, because please, I would like to know. And what are your experiences too on what you've seen as far as religion? Because I know me growing up, I've always believed in God, right? But I never aligned with religion in the sense of, studying a book and going by the book and all those kind of things. And I do believe that there is an order. And that's kind of what helped me realize it, with Jesse, because music is all order, right? To create harmony, you have to have an order and follow the boundaries to create the harmony. So it totally makes sense that you would need to do the same thing spiritually within yourself to be able to harmonize.
Yeah. The documentary we saw about that black musician that they made the character Uncle Ruckus based on. If you guys know the Boondocks, that cartoon, it's very pro-black supremacy ideas, and they packaged it up in very funny skits. I thought it was a hilarious show, but unfortunately it does push that angry black narrative.
We got a call.
Mark! Mr. Marky Mark.
Hey, what do you know? Oh, whoops.
To accept, press 1.
Mr. Marky Mark!
What's going on, guys?
What's
Welcome,
cracking,
senor?
bro?
Just on this government-mandated lockdown.
Shit.
It's amazing.
How you digging it, man? You feel like, man, I can't wait to keep getting this unemployment. I don't want to work.
Well, I'm definitely not on that side of things. But, no, I would say I'm going to, lose money, but I don't really spend that much, so it's not really going to affect me,
I'm right there with you.
Anyways, I was going to say something about what you guys were saying. That was just a thought. I heard a lot of people say, I'm not all the way left, not all the way right. I'm not Republican, I'm not Libertarian, I'm not conservative, I'm not a Christian, I'm not, you know what I mean? But, they basically agree fundamentally with us, I should say, right? And, I don't know, I just think, what issue do you guys go left on? You know what I mean? I know it doesn't sound good to say I'm all the way on the right people are going to get, oh, no, he must be a racist. But it's not true. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Right.
So, like, I don't see a problem with saying, like, I'm as conservative as they come, man. Down the ballot. I'm on the right.
Well, see, for me, I took a little test, and I tried to answer it. I wanted to be conservative. I answered it more conservative than I had the intentions. Like, man, I want to be a lefty, and it turns out that it said that I was center right, and I was like, whoa. So I mean, I don't know, I don't know all the stipulations to be considered right or left, but I do agree with what you're saying.
For example, how often do you agree with like Obama or LeBron or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, almost never.
I would say never. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Especially because I could see through the fake bull crap, like I'm going to be the nicest personality you can ever see. So it's like I don't believe what he says. So even if he says something I resonate with, I still feel like he's got another thing up his sleeve.
Who are you referring to?
Obama, or even LeBron is like, man, he's not even.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like, I can tell you that there's nothing on the left, whether it's Ahmaud Arbery, whether you're talking about that, like nothing. Face masks, I agree with them on no thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like so, and I mean, maybe am I extreme? Do you guys think like I should at least agree with them on some stuff?
But you're a minority.
Like, you know what I mean?
You're a minority.
No, I know what you mean. That if based on how the world defines it, I know that they would look at it as like you said, racist and extreme. And if I had to be on a side, yeah, it's gonna be on what they would classify as far right. That's where I would find myself. But in the end, what they fail to realize, and I think maybe you would get it, is that really we want what's right. And truly, I don't think God would have a party. He would just want us to be what's right. But on earth, if we're going to be something, absolutely, I'd be on the far right.
And see, what I noticed too is that people on the left, right? Most people on the left don't believe in God, and so when people on the right talk about why they believe in something because of God, it instantly like makes them freak out, like, oh, God's not even real, and you can't even justify what you think, because I think they just have a misunderstanding about what God is,
That's kind of like where I'm going with this, where it's like, there's a lot of dualities in life, mom and dad, yes and no, good and evil. You know what I'm saying?
Two genders.
And there's what's that?
Two genders.
Yeah, male, female.
Right. Only two genders. But like fundamentally, the way I look at politics, like let's say you want to talk about guns, Second Amendment, it's like okay, there are people that like guns, and there are people that don't like guns. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
If you want to talk about abortion, there are people that are like pro-abortion and people that are not pro-abortion.
Right.
And like fundamentally, there's really only two stories out there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? On all these issues, and the left has framed those conversations. You know what I'm saying? So
I absolutely do.
I mean, I understand it doesn't sound nice to say I'm far right. I support zero abortions. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But like, if I'm on to be what is right, then I should support zero abortions, and I should vote far to the right. You know what I'm saying?
And what they do is they go in that gray area where it's like it's real gray, and they find all these reasons and excuses to try to persuade and convince you into thinking that it's okay. And it sometimes can trip you out. Like if you think of, if someone got raped and they didn't want to have the rapist baby and all those kinds of things, and that makes you go, oh yeah, that's not cool. But then you got to go, oh well, it's not the baby's fault, and that's another trauma is having an abortion. And being raped is a trauma on one, and then you add an abortion, that's two traumas. So it's better to have the baby so that you can, even put it up for adoption or raise it. You never know what blessings you might receive from that you wouldn't have expected to having the baby. But I agree, it's going to be on the one or the other.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's better to move the conversation forward so we can get somewhere more useful if we're just, just disclose a little bit more. For like, I don't know, and I'm not telling you guys to identify the way I'm telling you to, but I'm saying, let's say hypothetically, I were in a conversation as a conservative, and I was like, oh, I'm far to the right, and then they're like, well, you said you were far to the right, what do you mean by that? I'm going to say, well, It's not should abortion be legal or not. It's how much money should we give them? You know what I mean? Something like that. If it were on the right, it would be like the NRA subsidizes rifles and gives out free ammunition, and it's like, how much money are we going to give them? You know what I'm saying? It's like already framed so far to the left that like, people are just constantly disclaiming themselves. Well, I'm not a racist, but you know what I'm saying? And I think it's better to just be like, listen, that is cuckoo talk, okay? That's fantasy land where everybody is a celebrity and loves the environment, and we're all so wonderful. We're all kings and queens in our ivory tower.
No, I agree.
You know
I
what I'm
agree,
saying?
and I find myself, now that you mention it, it's like you almost have to bring yourself down to the level of that like intellectualism, and that's the wrong way to do it. It's like instead of getting a girl and trying to go into hell to bring her out, you love the hell out of her and you bring her up to where you are. And I think that's what I feel like you're saying, and to do is to just stay firm in what you really believe and not get sucked into that intellectual reasons and excuses and trying to defend yourself and justify the framework that they put around it.
Yeah, it's like when they catch a politician or somebody on the right, like I think it was Steve King or anybody, who says something that the media jumps on and is like, oh, look, that sounded racist or that sounded anti-Semitic, and then they start backpedaling and having to apologize. I can't stand that kind of
It's
thing.
all control.
So people call me, if people were to ask me, yes, I'd do what you said. They're going to say, well, where do you fall on the spectrum? I'd say, well, if I'm going to put myself somewhere, I'm on the far right, as far right as you can go, up against the wall. Right?
Yeah, that's what I say. I'm like, well,
Can't get any more right.
Show me something that I agree that with the left on, I'd be happy to admit that, but I've yet to find that.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
But do you think it's possible to go so far right that you meet at the back and you're on the left again?
Well, see, that was like also my question. Do you guys think that's actually like a negative? To just be like, look, the way I look at it, because the way I look at things is right and wrong, moral and immoral, and fundamentally, if you want to like wonder where that comes from, you could just basically Christianity, right?
Yeah.
So if you're a Christian, it's going to be pretty tough to be a pro forcing LGBT stuff on people Christian. It's going to be pretty tough to be a pro-abortion Christian. It's going to be pretty tough to be any of those things.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And be a Christian. So it's like, what is the purpose if the truth is like the truth, and we need to speak the truth and overcome anger and be real? What is the purpose of being like, well, I'm not racist, I'm in the middle. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right. It can come off weak, and exactly what I feel like is happening with the Republican Party, which is what I don't like, is it feels like it's sliding, like what they call the Overton window. It's all shifted to the left. So even if people identify as Republican and conservative, they're so watered down, and they, like you said, they're apologists for for
Yeah,
racism
man.
and
There's so
for
many
sexism.
like Republicans that are pro-abortion, that are like, pro all this nasty stuff. They just don't like taxes, and you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Right. No,
And
exactly.
they don't
That's-
like a few other things.
No, you're right.
Where it's like, I agree with you. Where it's like, I'm not all about the Republican Party. You know what I'm saying?
That's
agree
where I
with that,
come from
obviously.
too. When I
Yeah.
say that I don't identify, because I see people that I don't agree with, just in their spirit, and some of the things like you said, like on the right. Or I'm not grabbing onto either one, because I know that I'm really truly independent. But I also, like you said, I don't agree with anything on the left.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, yeah. It's just a different way of saying it. But whatever, just a thought.
No, that's cool.
Hold
No,
on
that's
for a
good.
second,
It's
you know?
true. People got to be more firm, and people put I think where I've reached the point where I know I have zero fear of those labels now. I can care less what family or friends think.
Yeah, we lost all our friends.
Yeah, if they, I've got some messages to
Hey, you
people.
think it's any different for me? You know what I mean? In San Diego?
Exactly.
No way.
And it's funny because
I must drive past 100 churches every Sunday. You know what I mean?
Right.
I've had people who are I thought knew me and know me for years, and when the more I come out with these conservative talking points and these what we call far right, they've written me off and come at me and try to attack me and call me names. Whereas I have people like Joel or you, or just people I met through Trevor's friends, who you would think, hey, this person is black or Hispanic. They would never agree, but they actually see the spirit, and they're not mad at me for my opinion. They wholeheartedly disagree with what I think sometimes, but there's no hate there, and that's the trippy part. And it all comes down to that, which is, like I am far right.
I agree.
Yeah.
It all comes down to and you guys do say it's about knowing yourself and these things, spirituality, and that's my point. My point is like, I would just be like for example, my brother, he hates religion, right? Period.
Right.
He doesn't want to hear anything about it. End of story, right? But I can talk to him about right and wrong. You know what I'm saying? And if you can just kind of come from that place, we're like, listen, everyone has rights, blah, blah, blah. You know, the founders removed theology from legislation. You know what I'm saying? There is no theology there. You know, it's a free society. They were religious. They did believe in a creator, right? But there's no theology in the legislation. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, like, it's fundamentally common sense.
And you know what I
mean?
find
To
interesting?
have a free society.
Yeah, no, for
And
sure.
treat
And I
everyone
find
the
it
same.
interesting that the left is the only side that wants to take your freedoms away. They don't like they say they stand for equality the most, but they don't because they wanna they're like fighting for rights, but they're trying to take your rights away. You know, like we can do
Totally.
this, but you know, Christianity, oh, you can't do that. You can't, you know, on many different ways. And my rights are your rights. So if I, as a Christian, am
Yeah,
not allowed
exactly. They were talking about that on Jesse's show today, and he was like saying, "I'm not really like Christian, but I'm more pro-Western civilization." He's like, "Man, Western civilization is Christianity.
Exactly.
You can like that. That's what it is, man.
Right.
You believe in a free society. That means you believe in Christianity."
Exactly.
And people get all caught up on the man in the sky, you know, God, that they lose sight of the principles and the way of life that it is. Like, you know, people that love what's right and they want to do what's morally right, and they believe in God. But it's not the God that people are, you know, shoved down their throat that they think it is.
That's why yesterday we had Joel on the stream on Friday. I brought up the fact that right now it's very unpopular among most conservatives and definitely the entire left for white people to be vocal about an open attack on white culture, white heritage, which is directly tied to and related to Christianity and the West. Does it mean that all Christians are white? No, but if they can get rid of whites, they get rid of a very, very large, the last large, formidable demographic of Christians responsible for the Western civilization. And they're using any and all groups, including whites themselves, self-hating whites and liberals, to attack these Christians. And then, so like, we can't be scared to talk about that, you know, there's a war on whites, but really in the end, what they're trying to do is destroy Christianity. But we can acknowledge both at the same time, and don't be scared of the labels like, oh, you're a white supremacist, or you're a white nationalist. It's like, no, I just care about white people surviving this as well, and any and all good people.
Sure, and like again, you could even be a quote secularist or whatever, and say that your politics are guided by what is right and what is wrong, and if it's wrong to do that to a black person, then it's wrong to do that to a white person.
Right.
So if it would be wrong for white people to say we want a white-only graduation at Harvard, okay, we don't feel comfortable around these blacks. If people would say that's the most racist thing I've heard since the '60s, then they should say it the other way around too, which obviously they don't. You know what I'm saying?
No, I know exactly what you're saying. I did this gig like with a buddy of mine, really talented guy, and we went to perform, and it was at this county fair. And in the fair, like the place we were, it was just a strictly African American, what's it called, entrepreneur academy type of thing. And I was like, why wouldn't it just be? It was like a youth, African American youth entrepreneurs. And I'm like, well, why? I couldn't imagine it being a white entrepreneur thing, and it would be okay. Like, why can't it just be a youth entrepreneur for everybody? Why does it have to be specifically to one thing? And I even asked the lady, I was like, so can I sign up, or is because I'm white I can't?
Yeah.
She's like, no, I mean you can. She's like, it's for everybody, but we want to encourage and promote, entrepreneurship for the young black people. And it's like, I just don't understand.
What you're saying is it'd be a lot better if my skin was black and not the color that it actually is.
Exactly. This is like Kaepernick.
You'd like that a lot more, right, ma'am?
Yeah.
That would be a lot better for you?
Yeah.
Would you be able to
it
help me
looked
there?
better on your stats, right?
That's why Kaepernick, like when Kaepernick gave his money for this, the Corona relief, but he said it's earmarked for people of color. It's like it's selfish. It's like, first of all, they're the minority in the country. And if you really cared about all people, you wouldn't limit it to just that, as if they're not getting enough attention already. You know, that's further dividing the country and stroking the ego of all these people of color, making them feel like, yeah, I'm a victim. I need more help.
It's just like if you're a parent and you have kids, and one kid, you know, the youngest one gets spoiled, and the parents do everything for them, and they get special treatment. They're gonna grow up and be a lot weaker than the one that was like, you know, that
Of
had to do
course.
everything and take on
Of course.
responsibilities. It's the same thing. The government is the parent.
That's my point. We're just like, look, we just speak up, and someone's like, oh, affirmative action or whatever, welfare, whatever, some stupid thing, right? Why can't we just be like, look, are all these people who have taken welfare and have received affirmative action, are they better off for it? You know what I'm saying? Have their lives been made better because of it?
Exactly.
And the answer is no. The vast majority, no. I'm sure you'll find some that are yes, but the vast majority is no. You know? Because just put yourself into the shoes of the employer, right?
Right.
You have a white applicant and you have a black applicant, right? And the white applicant cannot say, give me lower standards because I have white skin, but the black one can. And maybe he earned it on his own, but you don't know.
Exactly.
What are you going to do?
Exactly.
What are you going to do?
Yeah, they'll
you know
never
what I'm saying?
know.
It's your
They'll never.
business.
If you get
You
it
have
for
to make those payments.
if you get it for free,
You know?
you'll never be able to really know that you earned it and got it yourself. Just like if you're a kid and your parents buy you into college or something like that, you're not gonna appreciate it, and it's just the way it is. That's that order, man, because you can't cheat it. If you earn your own money
Sure.
and make your own way, there's a sense of accomplishment and power that you feel within yourself to know that you're capable.
Yep.
But when it's handed to you, it's like it's gone. And then you become more entitled, and you expect people to give you things.
Plus, it's just humiliating. It's just humiliating to have someone pay for you.
Right, it's emasculating for men.
It's like, man, how old are you? 25 years old? You're a 25-year-old man. You can't pay for yourself. You can't feed yourself. You know?
Yeah. For
It's like,
sure.
wow.
And you know how I get people, or not get people, but I try to help them see, is that, like, you know, the friends I have that are black that want, you know, they talk about affirmative action and that they think that it should be a thing and stuff like that. I ask them, well, did you need affirmative action? And they'll say no. Like, well, why would you want for someone else what you wouldn't want for yourself? Why didn't you need it, and why do you think someone else does? You know?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. If you say, would you want your children to have affirmative action?
No, it's like, I mean,
Of course
everyone knows
they know.
the classic, every culture, every race, everybody knows what happens to children who get spoiled. They come out rotten. And it's the same principle that
Yeah,
applies
nobody
to
wants
adults.
to be around your spoiled kids. You know what I mean? Don't make your kid, what Jordan Peterson says, don't make your kids be, don't make people not want to be around your kids.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
So it works for
Turn them
adults
into
too. If we spoil adults,
Little brats.
they will be rotten adults.
I agree.
Absolutely. It's just about incentives. Okay? If I went to the school and they're like, look, man, you're Mexican, and you know, you could probably get into the school over here. Just say, you know, it's really hard and racism. You know, maybe I would believe in that stuff. You know what I mean? I think I might have told you that before, but I took a Chicano studies class in college just to kind of see what it was like. You know, I wasn't like part of the right or political at all before, and I was like, oh my God, I couldn't believe what they were about. But basically, in a nutshell, victimhood. You know, it's just victimhood from someone that doesn't even speak Spanish. You know what I mean? And they're like so brown and like into their Aztec heritage and like, you know what I'm saying?
For sure. Yeah, man. I don't know why it's hard for people to see clearly. Like, the people that want equality and all these things, I would say most people already, of course, want that. But the people that on the left that you know, champion it so hard are the ones that are not being equal at all. They're the ones that look at everybody as on certain levels, that by your race, oh, they need this, they need that. But reality is that we all should have equal starting point, you know, equal opportunity. But
that's
we
the
gotta
thing.
protect.
The folks on the left have an advantage at the way where we are now, and they're saying that they're disadvantaged.
Yeah, exactly.
You see
They
what I'm
want to
saying?
have an equal outcome instead of equal opportunity, and that's our freedoms. They're gonna, so it doesn't matter
Right,
how hard
which-
you work. You could work harder than the
So
next
it-
guy, but you get the same thing. It's not fair.
Right. So if we say, if we allow the left to frame the conversation and be like, that's bad because it's not equal, well, then we're going to lose until we're all exactly equal. Until we all have exactly, $8,402. Everyone.
Right,
You know what I'm saying?
exactly.
Until then, they're not going to be happy.
But see-
so instead of playing along with that, we should just say, listen, equality is the worst goal ever.
And that-
you know
and
what
that
is
doesn't
equality?
make- it-
You know what I mean? In
it doesn't-
Cuba, in North Korea, in prisons, nowhere in nature is there equality. Not even in families. The
Exactly.
firstborn
And
always
it
has a
doesn't
higher
make
IQ,
sense.
always makes more money.
It doesn't make sense because
whole
even if we
purpose
got
Of bettering yourself is to create inequality.
the same amount of money, the same checks, then it comes down to, oh, what about this guy that saves his money and doesn't buy stuff? He's going to eventually have more money, and these people over here that spend all their money on crap, then what? Is it not equal anymore because they have more money than you because
Exactly.
they saved?
Exactly.
It's an endless...
Exactly. Why is equality so good? If this guy just spends, you're encouraging, you're incentivizing people that don't give a shit. Sorry.
Right.
That don't care. You know what I mean? And they get rewarded. What do you think's going to happen? What kind of result? I live in downtown San Diego. They give out free stuff all the time. Free this and free that for homeless people. Shocker, the homeless population went through the roof. It skyrocketed. You know what I'm saying?
And that's what
It's
they're
like
doing
people
with this...
do what you incentivize them to do.
with this free stuff that's happening right now, all in the name of coronavirus. Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh, I figured out how to release Jill Magoon.
You still there?
Mark, you still there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
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 All right, dude. I think I was rambled for a little while.
That's good, bro.
See you guys soon.
That's what we want.
Thank you,
man.
Mark.
Talk about it, man.
For sure, man.
All right, well, hopefully I'll see you soon, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, take care.
Damn, somebody just kept blowing the phones up.
It said potential spam.
I know.
Whoever was trying to call back.
Alright, so I figured out how to get Jill Magoon back. Jill, if you're watching, you should be able to comment now. It took me a minute.
Unknown caller.
Let's see.
Call from. To accept, press 1.
Let's see. This could be a
Press 2.
troll. Hello? Hello? Goodbye. Yeah. It's just someone trolling. Alright, let's see if we missed something. How come Crappernick doesn't complain about the Chinese government abusing black people? Oh yeah, because China pays for his hate agenda. Exactly.
Exactly.
Black people get beat up in the streets in China. They're very much hated in Asia. Well, especially China. Communist China. And he doesn't say nothing about that. They even had like these videos that went around this year showing at a market just beating the hell out of a black dude.
I've seen some of those.
Yeah.
They have a museum that's dedicated to comparing black people to animals
Oh yeah.
and monkeys and stuff like that. And people just walk around looking. If it's the same person, try and block them.
Yeah, what's the spam one? Let's see.
Call
They
from.
don't give their name.
Bob?
To
Bob.
accept, press 1. To
Hello, you're on the air.
Hello.
Yep.
My name's Bob. I run a forum site called Now.2.
Oh, not interested.
Hey, yo, bitch.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly. Got him. I knew it. That's for Bob, the little. Obviously, he sounds like an angry black dude.
See, that's the thing is that people have anger, man. It's like you either have anger or you don't.
Exactly.
And it's not a skin color thing because I got friends of all creeds, all races, and it's a spirit thing. So it's definitely not anything to do with that stuff. So
It's
people that
amazing.
call in all mad and pissed off.
You can't even be yourself and be honest. You got to sit there and start with a fake call.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you're a coward. You're a woman.
Exactly. It's cowardly to have to pretend and hide rather than come and actually have a conversation. It's just pure anger, and that's how you know it's a spirit.
Yeah. He's got the spirit of his mother.
Call from.
It's T Warrior.
To accept, press
I don't think
1.
it's T.
To
It's
send
someone
a
faking
voicemail,
it.
press
It's New
2.
York.
Same call.
To
No.
accept, press 1. To send a voicemail, press 2.
We'll give it a little bit. The trolls are coming out tonight. We're doing pretty good. Getting all the trolls.